Hey guys, and welcome to today's video where we are going to be talking about the impact of TikTok on the music industry. Before anyone says it, I am very aware that Gabby Bell recently made a great video with a very similar title, and I will link her video in the description below for anyone who hasn't seen it. But honestly, I've been kind of sitting on this idea for like a year now and I just haven't got around to making it. But Gabby's video mainly focused on how TikTok has affected the songs that are being written, whereas I wanted to take more of a look at holistically how TikTok has affected the industry as a whole. And we're going to talk about songwriting, song structure, song promotion, song virality, all that good stuff. And I'm actually really excited because I am very much a music nerd. Nothing brings me more joy than finding a new song or an album to become obsessed with. So without further ado, let's talk about the TikTokification of the music industry. Also, side note, the fact that TikTokification is a word that we all will collectively understand is so weird. Like, if you went back in time and said TikTokification to a Victorian child, they would literally be screaming, crying, throwing up on the spot. Okay, so first and foremost, I think we need to talk about how TikTok became so influential in music and the kind of development that the app has had to make it a music label's primary focus when they're signing artists and putting out songs. As we all probably know, TikTok did not start as TikTok, it started as Musical.ly. And the clue is in the name here. Musical.ly was an app focused around, you guessed it, music, which was the natural descendant of YouTube. And YouTube for many years has been and still is the biggest distributor of music of all the platforms. You might think that Spotify or Apple Music would hold that title nowadays, and most songs will have more streams on Spotify. Their music videos will get views on YouTube, but there are a few key differences that put YouTube ahead. So the first is that YouTube's primary business is free. Yes, we have YouTube Premium now, but this is a relatively new service and it's not essential to your experience using the platform, whereas Spotify Premium kind of is. You can watch all of your favorite music videos without interruption on YouTube, regardless of whether you've got Premium or not, and you can pick what you want to listen to. Whereas with Spotify, if you don't have a Premium subscription, you will have to press shuffle and you can't choose what you want to listen to, which is annoying. And also there's ads like every 2 songs that are always just ads for Spotify Premium, whereas the ads between YouTube videos are like either 5 seconds or they're skippable, although YouTube's getting a little bit too comfortable with these unskippable 15-second ads. Although if you get one of those on my video, watch the 15 seconds. But usually YouTube ads on like music videos that are only 3 minutes long are going to be 5-second ads, so they're a lot more bearable than the Spotify ads. So secondly is the fact Spotify only allows music to be published on their platform when it comes from a verified distribution channel such as a music label, whereas YouTube literally lets anyone upload whatever they want. So anyone can upload a song to YouTube, and it's understandable for Spotify that they do this because they want to make sure that people are not re-uploading other artists' music and making money from it, or uploading things that aren't songs. But because YouTube is so much more accessible, a lot of people starting out in music will upload their stuff to YouTube before trying to jump through the hoops that Spotify sets in order to get their music on there. And as such, social media has, since its inception, had a huge part to play in distribution of music, and Musical.ly tried to capitalize on this by designing an app that was specifically geared towards users making lip sync videos. And when ByteDance acquired Musical.ly, they kept the focus on music, and I think they realized that there was a gap in the market for a music-driven video platform, and this could be so much bigger than Musical.ly was at that time, because where Musical.ly focused on lip-syncing videos, the audience for the app was naturally quite young, and outside of that audience, a lot of people on YouTube dismissed Musical.ly as being for kids. And when it was rebranded and relaunched as TikTok, the platform felt like a fresh opportunity for the music industry in comparison to other social media platforms, because unlike YouTube, videos on TikTok could use popular music without copyright issues. And TikTok took a different approach to YouTube. So YouTube has no music licenses. I think they have started to get some music licenses now, but they don't have any deals with any of the major music labels to allow people on the app to use the label's music without permission. So TikTok took a different approach where they did negotiate with the major labels in the background of what was going on in the app in order to allow creators to use popular songs and sounds without having their videos taken down for copyright. So got a hair in my mouth. Their user base grew hugely during that process because it felt much less limiting than YouTube. And by the time the deals were finalized in 2021, the labels could see the value that TikTok could bring to them, and so they allowed for their music to be used on the app by anyone, because TikTok took a kind of dodgy approach in that they just let people use stuff on their app that was copyrighted without having a license, and then negotiated the licenses later on, which I don't advise anyone do that if you are planning to use someone else's IP. An example of this value was demonstrated in a 2021 study by MRC Data, which found that 67% of TikTok's users were more likely to seek out a song on a music streaming platform having heard it on the app first. And as such, music labels have started to pay a lot more attention to TikTok when choosing songs to release and how to promote them, trying to generate viral moments that include that artist's music. And the reason why TikTok virality is so valuable is that if something goes viral on TikTok, people will likely hear it over and over and over again, even if they're not searching for it or actively listening to that artist, because everyone on TikTok will be using that sound to try and generate more traction for their videos, in turn creating more traction for the artist. So it's a kind of like, this thing's gone viral, so then everyone's using it to try and make themselves go viral. So there's like that mutual benefit for the artist and the person whose video goes viral. And an example of this would be Boys a Liar by Ice Spice and Pink Pantheress. The official music video on YouTube has 82 million views, but on TikTok there are 1.8 million videos that use that sound, which collectively will have far more than 82 million views. Like if each of those videos had 1,000 views, the song collectively would have reached 1.8 billion views. And I reckon that across all of those videos, Boys a Liar Part 2 has probably received around 3 billion views, and there are only 35 videos on YouTube that have ever crossed the 3 billion view mark. So the marketing value of getting a song to go viral on TikTok is massive in comparison to YouTube, because getting to those huge milestones seems easier, because once the traction starts, it kind of snowballs and ends up becoming huge. And the reason for this is that the virality doesn't come from algorithms or labels paying YouTube to advertise the song. It comes from the community of users. It only takes one person to make a funny joke or a fun dance to a song, and that song can be catapulted into being a viral sensation without the label having to invest a single penny into marketing it. And I think this goes both ways, where artists can exploit the user-focused nature of the app, because music consumers love to feel part of a community, and where there are a lot of small artists on TikTok, people like to become fans very early on so that they can say they were there from the start. So if a consumer hears a song on TikTok that they like and the artist is only just up and coming, they're more likely to kind of stick around and see what happens and actively boost the artist's profile by using the songs in the background of their videos. Also, if you watch a music video on YouTube, yes, there are visuals that go with it, but usually it's very high production and the main focus is on the audio, whereas on TikTok, the main focus is on the video. So you end up kind of consuming the music without necessarily realizing it. But the more you hear the song in the background of videos, the more likely you are to want to go and listen to it on Spotify or wherever it is that you usually consume your music. And I think this is actually good for both artists and listeners, because the music industry has always been so notoriously hard to break into, and has meant that a lot of the time, the charts and the radio would be dominated by the same people, which, if those people don't cater to your music taste, can make discovering new artists a lot more difficult because you have to actively search for them online. However, now, any artist has a chance of going viral if their song is catchy or someone comes up with a cool concept for a trend that can go alongside it. And we're seeing a much wider range of people getting their music into the charts, and chances are, whatever you are into, at least one of the artists that you're listening to right now has had some kind of a boost as a result of TikTok. And something unique about TikTok that is incredibly valuable to anyone posting on there is that the algorithm that determines the videos that go viral doesn't discriminate between new accounts, verified accounts, accounts that have posted 1,000 videos before versus accounts that have never posted before. Whereas YouTube's algorithm will push things out depending on how many views the channel consistently gets, but TikTok doesn't rely on this as much. And therefore, it's much more likely that an independent artist's music will authentically go viral on TikTok than on YouTube. And this isn't particularly valuable to established artists because they already have millions of followers. They will probably get millions of views on everything they post. But for independent artists, this has kind of changed the game, because I feel like labels are more likely to take a gamble on an artist when they know that TikTok could massively boost their career, even if they don't have many followers to start with. And if we're going to talk about artists receiving a boost to their popularity as a result of TikTok, there is one mega success story that we really have to talk about, which is Olivia Rodrigo, who went from being a Disney actor with a few 100,000 followers to breaking the record twice for the most streamed on Spotify of a non-holiday song in a single day with her debut song, Driver's License. She posted a snippet of Driver's License to her TikTok account, which gained 7 million views, and in the following week before the song's release, she continued to post teasers, such as handwritten lyrics and acoustic snippets from the song to drum up anticipation before it was finally released. And she definitely had some help from the fact that All I Want, which was a song that she'd sung for High School Musical, the series, the TV series with the most convoluted title I've ever heard, had done well on TikTok a few months prior, and therefore people did know of her and they recognised her voice. But Driver's License and subsequently Deja Vu and Good For You were a whole other kettle of fish. And the reason I bring Olivia up is that she marketed her music through TikTok using snippets of her upcoming release, which subsequently launched her into global superstardom and a #1 album. And this has seemingly inspired a lot of other artists to try and replicate that. So people have also referenced Olivia as being like the pioneer of artists writing for TikTok, dubbed the Olivia Rodrigo effect, but honestly I don't think any of her songs display the characteristics that imply they were written specifically for TikTok. I think she was just the first and most successful artist to make a career starting out on TikTok, and so she is seen as the reason for people trying to do that and using gimmicky songs to try and replicate her success, even though that's not what she did. But we're going to talk more about gimmicky songwriting later. Olivia's success, honestly, I think is one of a kind in that while she was teasing her music on TikTok, she's the only artist who's had that level of success without making her teasers overly like TikTok-y. Like everything that she did would have also been at home on Instagram or YouTube. It wasn't specifically geared toward TikTok's algorithm or the audience on TikTok. That just happened to be where she was posting as her main platform at the time. However, following the massive commercial success of Driver's License and the following songs and album, many artists have taken what Olivia did with her marketing and have TikTokified it to promote their own music. Webb and Jake are perfect examples of this, as both of them were pioneers of promoting their music in this way and launching a career from it. And they both did pretty similar things, so let's take Mimi as an example first. Mimi released her debut song Before I Go in April 2020, which gained 25 million streams on Spotify because Charli D'Amelio used it in 2 of her TikTok videos, which gained 85 million views between them. Following this, Mimi capitalized on TikTok's love for her music by going on an inescapable marketing campaign prior to the release of her second song, Good Without, in June 2021. In the months before Good Without came out, Mimi filmed a couple of videos which I think they just popped up on my For You page so many times I assumed that there was like 50, but there's actually only like 10. But she filmed videos promoting the song such as I Think I Just Wrote the Perfect Breakup Song, showing various family members my new song, showing my friends my new song, and filming their reaction, and all of those videos gained millions of views and ended up getting Good Without to number 8 on the UK singles chart when it released a few days later. And this type of TikTok marketing was slightly different to Olivia Rodrigo because it was less about the song itself and more about whatever else was going on in the video, whether it be the person's reaction or the story behind the song. And it felt less formal and more personal than the teasers that Olivia posted before Driver's License came out. And to explain why people connected with this content, let's take a look at Jake, spelled JVKE, and how he got to 10 million TikTok followers, because his marketing on the platform has been pretty similar. He markets his music in a way that instead of asking you to stream the song, he gives you content to watch that contains the song that is a subtle hint to go and listen to it. But because it's a subtle hint, if you do go and listen to it, it feels like your own choice rather than because someone was pushing you to do that. And this is because he uses 2 techniques, and shout out to Kate Zhu on TikTok who pointed these out, which are interactions within the video and giving the platform to someone who did not ask for it. By including people like his family, his friends, his old teachers in the videos, it adds a layer to the content, which is the interactions that happen within the video between him and the other person, which the viewer will naturally focus on, and the music becomes a secondary element to that. And this also means that his content feels more personal, it feels more authentic, and audiences are more likely to want to uplift him and put his music out there because it feels like he's not asking you to give him virality. And it's the same thing when particular interactions happen between people out and about, which go viral more often than scripted ones, because viewers love to platform someone who did not ask to be platformed. And one recent video that I saw that perfectly exemplifies this, which I think is probably staged, is where a guy called Gojo was standing in the street playing his song, and he was asking passerbys, I'm not sure which one it would be, but he was asking people who were walking past if they played guitar, and if they said yes, he would invite them to play a solo in the song that he was playing, which is his new song called Mrs. Hollywood. And one girl who was walking past agreed to do that, and then whipped out a phenomenal guitar solo and got 33 million views on that video, because people loved the fact that seemingly it was just a very talented stranger being in the right place at the right time to show off her skills. And Gojo even added her solo to the official version that he released because of how popular it was, and this is what kind of makes me think it was a little bit staged. But I think this shows how communities tend to try and uplift people who are just doing their thing, being talented, rather than those who are making hundreds of videos begging you to go and stream their songs. And both Gojo and Jake have capitalized on this in these examples because the song is what will gain traction from this. People have made the piano teacher and the girl on the street go viral, but inadvertently they are also making that particular song go viral for that artist. And the reason I think Jake's content has been so successful at doing this is because of the layers. The base layer of any music promotion is the song. That's the primary reason for the content being made, but it's not really enough to just play the song and hope that people will go and listen to it. If that was the case, music videos wouldn't exist. TikTok has music so ingrained into what the app does that a video wouldn't do well if it didn't have other layers alongside the song. So for the Jake example, he adds in a second layer of him performing the song, and then a third layer, which is the reaction of whoever he is with to his performance. And that stimulates the viewer with a lot of things to watch, a lot of things to think about whilst the song is being played. You end up with a final product that is like a feel-good, wholesome video because you're watching a genuinely positive interaction between two people that is facilitated by this song, and that's what will make that song memorable and incentivize you to go and listen to it. Just a quick side note before we move on. I don't know if there's some kind of inside joke that I missed, but why is this the photo and the description on Jake's Wikipedia page? Like, who is this? Does he make music? Should I have included him in the video? Someone please enlighten me. And when it comes to new artists creating a presence on TikTok, there's a very fine line between promoting music in a certain way to get the algorithm to push it out there and promoting music in a way that feels cringe to the viewer, or which makes it feel like you're begging them to go and stream your song rather than giving them a genuine reason to stream it. And I want to preface this by saying I'm not commenting on the quality of the music here. There are a whole plethora of very talented people on TikTok who deserve to be successful with their music. But I am instead commentating on the quality of the marketing and how this hyper focus on the algorithm and having a viral moment is actually in a lot of cases not coming off well to the viewer. So the video might get views, but those views are not turning into long-term fans. Obviously on TikTok there are a lot of people trying to get their videos out there and get the algorithm to put their stuff on someone's For You page instead of another artist's. And so over the last couple of years, music promotion has become more and more over the top in order to try and grab the viewer's attention in an overly saturated market full of talented people. And usually what happens is one artist makes a video in a certain format, it blows up, it gets loads of views, and then everyone else tries to copy that. Some examples include the "What if there was a song for X?" or "I just wrote the perfect song for Y." Song of the summer, apparently there are like 1,200 songs of the summer because literally everyone on TikTok has written the song of the summer. So artists are trying to get the audience to relate to them by writing songs that they think a lot of people would be searching for and they think that then people would go and listen to. And this is fine for the first few times, but after a while it can become pretty repetitive when every musician that they're coming across has claimed to have written the perfect breakup song, especially when there's already so many breakup songs out there. But I get it, you know, creators got to do what creators got to do to get their music out there. And the problem is that after seeing the same marketing tactics used by so many people, the over-the-top promotion starts to become a little bit, dare I say it, cringe. especially if the artist doing the promotion is not getting that much traction from it. And I don't want to go in too hard on these people because ultimately the vast majority of them are extremely talented. They're just trying to get discovered, and in this day and age we need to stop making fun of people who are posting on social media for enjoyment. But the word cringe gets thrown about a lot, so oh, the ice cream man's outside. Anyway, the word cringe gets thrown about a lot, so we do kind of need to address it. And one example of someone whose songs are not objectively bad but whose promotion was deemed pretty unanimously to be cringy is Antigone, who was a contestant on last year's Love Island. If you're not from the UK, you probably wouldn't know who this is, but I'll give you a brief rundown. So after leaving the show, where she'd been very open on the show about her aspirations as a singer and a performer, she tried to use TikTok to promote her new music. She created a dance for her song You Can Have Him, which apparently at one point she said was about Love Island, and then she said no, it's not about Love Island, but so I don't know. But she was getting a lot of her influencer friends that she'd made from Love Island to do TikToks with her doing this dance, clearly wanting it to become a trend, but it just never really took off, and the sound only has 770 videos made to it a year later. I think the reason that it came off as a little bit cringe was that she already had a platform from being on Love Island, and she was getting like 1 million views on each video, but it wasn't going anywhere because people weren't bothered about the dance or about the song. And this is where aspiring artists have to be a little bit careful, because if your video goes viral but the concept isn't good or the song isn't good or whatever, instead of launching your career, it could just end up with people all over the internet calling you or your music cringe, which no one wants. And as a small artist, it's a very fine line to tread. You know, you want to copy those over-the-top popular video formats because they are working for someone, but at the same time, you need to be likable enough and authentic enough that as an individual, people will choose to follow you over others if or when your video blows up. Hello, I am once again interrupting the broadcast because an artist that I actually found her on Spotify, but I found out later that she has TikTok as well, posted a video since filming this, kind of explaining from an artist perspective that they don't like doing this kind of promotion either, but they have to because that's kind of the way to get their music out there. So I just wanted to put that in here, so that's what this next video is going to be before we jump into something else, because I thought it was quite interesting just to hear from the perspective of someone who feels like they have to do this kind of promotion, how they feel about like people calling it cringe or whatever. So that's what this is.
Here's the thing none of you understand. We all know this is embarrassing as fuck. To sit in our little cars and be like, here's my song, listen to it if you want the song of the summer. Like, I'm not a dumbass, but you know what I am? I'm broke. And I'm not a Nepo baby. So I can't just sort of like sit back and make my music and just let the powers that be. No, I have to sit here and be like, if you like Trader Joe's and Phoebe Bridgers and oat milk lattes and Taylor Swift, and you're a little sad and a little gay and you want to have a little dance, then listen to yeah, okay, all those things are true, sure. But I've never been able to be the type of artist that can sit here and play my music and have it do well. I've always needed to have some sort of gimmick. But the thing is, the market now is so oversaturated with so many people showing so much mediocre music. Some excellent music, some terrible music. I don't know where I lie in this equation. I'll leave that up to you, but don't tell me I have a fragile ego. But there's so much music and so many people promoting it that nobody wants to see artists promoting their music anymore. They just want to like find it on their own. And that's where I always have a problem. I mean, I have made PowerPoints. I have spent 15 hours editing long videos explaining the stories of my songs. I've told you all that there were reverse messages for my ex in a song. And the issue is it all used to work. So I was so okay compromising my own like dignity as an adult to do this, because it's like, I don't know, you know how like Wendy's and like all these corporations have Twitters and they tweet as though they're all like 18-year-old girls? Like that shit used to work. But now every single company is doing it, and now I just feel like a third-rate diner who can't stop tweeting slay. But I think for me, because my songwriting tends to be more of like a holistic process and I'm not really aiming for production when I write, I'm trying to write an entire song and then produce it out, I wind up more with like full songs I consider to be really good as opposed to like pretty good sound bites. Hence the angle that I've needed. But do you get how I'm in a pickle? I'm not a Nepo baby. I just thought there was a way for me to play my music and have people find it, but it seems that's not the case, unless it is right now.
And there is more to small artist promotion than just popular video formats. Artists on TikTok love playing on the idea of fans wanting to find a small artist and be there right from the beginning. As a fan of any artist, it feels great to watch their journey right from the beginning and see their evolution and say that you've been a fan right from the start. And I don't know why we as humans like that. I think we just like the bragging rights of saying that we were there from the beginning and we've known about this person and we can gatekeep them. But people on TikTok are playing on this idea when trying to get discovered. For example, I saw a video of someone saying, you know, if anyone's looking for a Maisie Peters type small artist, they should support her because she's relatively unknown, whereas Maisie now has a huge increase in following from the past 2 years as a result of both her TikToks and from her supporting Ed Sheeran on his tour. And TikTok is almost an easy way to build a community around yourself as an artist from the beginning, compared to what it was like 10 years ago, where artists were just selling CDs on the street or playing in every pub and club that would take them in order to get their name out there. And in that sense, TikTok is a fantastic addition to the music industry because independent artists are no longer restricted by the area that they live in. You know, wherever they're from, they can put their music on a global stage and reach people around the world just by making videos on TikTok. However, sometimes it does feel pushy, and as a viewer, sometimes I come across TikToks from small artists trying to get discovered that just put me off a little bit. And the ones who use topic that they shouldn't in order to try and get the audience to relate to them. If you have anxiety, this song is for you should not be a thing. You know, don't try and use other people's mental health problems as a way to persuade them to listen to your song. Writing about sensitive topics like anxiety and depression should be a very personal experience, and I appreciate any artist who can write about their experience with that. But I don't feel like starting a video with, what if there was a song for people who are depressed, is setting the right mood for your video, and it will instantly make me not want to listen to any of your music because it doesn't feel like you're writing about those topics for genuine reasons. And there's also a lot of statements that are clearly false, like, I just wrote this song about XYZ. And then it cuts to a fully produced and mixed version of the song that the caption says is being released in 3 days. Like, you wrote that weeks ago, but your label is telling you that you need to do something to promote the song so that people will listen to it when it comes out. So now you're trying to impress the audience by saying that you just wrote it. And I get that artists are trying to get themselves out there in any way possible, but literally tens of thousands of people are making these same types of videos and it's becoming really boring, especially now that artists are also writing songs for TikTok. So not only are the promotional videos the same, the music that they are promoting sounds the same. Now, whilst we might be able to excuse the cringe music promotion coming from independent unsigned artists via TikTok in order to get their name out there, the industry shift towards TikTok is not just affecting those trying to break into it, but those who are already in it and who are trying to sustain a career in this space. So Halsey spoke out on TikTok in 2022 about how her label would not let her release her single So Good until she made a fake TikTok viral moment in order to promote the song, which she didn't want to do. So instead, she exposed the label for what they were trying to get her to do. Now, I've been a fan of Halsey's music for a fair few years now. From following her over the years, I know that the way that she presents herself and markets herself as an artist is not the kind of content that you generally find on TikTok. Like, she literally released an entire hour-long film to bring to life the story and the vision from her last album, If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power. So pivoting into making 30-second TikTok dances is not really on brand for her. And as such, I can understand the frustration from where her label are so fixated on making the music do well on TikTok, even if it's not meant for TikTok, that they aren't taking into account the artist's vision. And she's spoken about this at multiple live shows since this happened, so this is clearly something that she was and still is very upset about. And Charlie XCX is another artist who has talked on TikTok about how her label tried to force her to make a ton of TikToks to promote her music when she doesn't really want to. And I think this shows actually how the TikTokification of music is bad for artists, because whilst there is opportunity for new artists to be discovered and have their careers take off just from posting on this app, established artists and anyone who already has a career in music are suddenly under way more pressure than they were before. And one of the biggest advantages of being signed to a label is that the label does the marketing for you. You know, they pay for the shoots, they get the graphic designers, they hire the editors, they work with you to put together the story for every music video or album, and they deal with the administrative side of getting those adverts out to the world. That benefit is dwindling as a result of TikTok. Musicians are now expected not just to be musicians, but to be influencers as well, and to both promote their music via social media, essentially doing the label's job for them, and connect with their fans on a personal level through those platforms in the same way that someone who does TikTok for a job is expected to. And this is on top of their jobs as songwriters, recording artists, and performers, and it's putting this huge expectation on musicians to be social media personalities when that literally is not their job. If they wanted to be a YouTuber, they would have started a YouTube channel on their own. They are first and foremost a musician, and whilst yes, it's probably fun for them to use social media in their spare time, most artists don't want to do social media as a side hustle. They want it to be like if I've got something to post, I'll post it, but I don't have to. And they want to focus on their music, but the labels are not allowing them to do that. Obviously, from the label's perspective, it's only the artist who can have that parasocial relationship with their fans through TikTok, and investing money into billboards or TV ads is way less cost effective at reaching the younger generation than creating a few videos on TikTok. But for the artists, it's just making the music industry way more exhausting than it already was, because they're not now just having to write, record, and perform their songs. They're now having to worry about marketing. And you can see that a lot of artists are only creating content for TikTok because their label is telling them to. And it's not just music where this is happening. Like Lady Gaga made quite possibly the most awkward TikTok promoting her new House Labs products the other day. So clearly this is happening in other areas where celebrities who have side hustles are expected to be the marketing team. But with music, I feel like it's more obvious because music takes up so much of your time when you're doing it as a job. So having to do TikTok as well just seems like it's very exhausting extra work that someone has to do. And labels, having seen the power of building a community on TikTok through artists like Webb, who've risen through the charts as a result of people online rallying around her, have started to engage content creators in a paid capacity to assist with an artist's promotion. And this is done primarily in two ways. Either through private listening parties with the artist prior to a song or album's release, where a number of influencers will be invited to maybe an hour-long Zoom session with the artist to then listen to the music and talk about their opinions on the platform afterwards. And these listening parties allow the artist not only to engage with creators in a personal way that will make them more likely to invest their time into creating TikToks to that song, but also gives labels and execs the chance to gauge audience reaction before the song comes out, because creators who get famous on TikTok tend to be the ones that viewers relate to the most, and therefore they are representative of the audience that the label wants to engage. And the other way is that labels simply pay influencers to create videos using the song. For example, I would hazard a guess that Meghan Trainor's label have, at least in some capacity, paid Brooke and Jesse to create the viral dances to Meghan's new song. Dances which then get millions of views and took the song Made You Look from being a laughingstock to being a chart-topping hit. Brooke and Jesse have said they weren't paid for Made You Look. I think they were paid for Mother, from how well Made You Look did. And what's interesting here is that whilst the Brooke and Jesse example concerns one of the biggest TikTok dancing accounts, labels have commented that actually because of how TikTok's algorithm works, it's better for them to cast their net widely and pay a range of influencers to use the song, including accounts that post things completely unrelated to music, such as hydraulic press videos or slime tutorials. This is interesting from a branding perspective, because when there's no rhyme or reason to where or how promotion happens, it can kind of ruin the message behind a song, because if something is supposed to be deep and meaningful, but the accompanying visual is of a tennis ball being crushed by a machine, the message gets a little bit lost in translation. And record exec Dan Asib said that this strategy is mainly just about getting the song into the algorithm and in front of the audience, and they don't expect these videos to go viral. But I still think it's so weird to compare this to marketing in the 2010s, which was mostly like press tours, radio interviews, intimate performances, and now it's 30 seconds line videos. There are also platforms that labels can use to try and artificially start a trend, such as Pear Pop and Preffy, where artists and labels can create video challenges, and if a user creates a video that fits the spec for that challenge, they can be paid for it, even if they don't have a big following, because participating in the challenge from a label's perspective means that there's more chance of it developing into an actual trend. Okay, so now we've talked about the effect of TikTok on marketing and determining how artists and songs become successful. Let's talk a little bit about the songs themselves, because that's really the thing that matters the most. Before TikTok, YouTube influenced how artists produce songs, because a little known fact is that the reason why collaborations were so popular in the 2010s is because of YouTube. Music discovery on YouTube is not just based on playlists or recommendations on the homepage. A lot of it is based on search. So labels realized that by having multiple artists on a song and multiple names in a video title, it would appear in more search results and therefore it would gain wider exposure. And this is partly why we see rappers appearing on pop songs with artists that you would not expect them to be in cahoots with. Think Taylor Swift with Kendrick Lamar, Madison Beer with Quavo, Paul McCartney with Kanye West. These collabs weren't just because the artists thought that they could mesh well together to create a great song. There was also SEO reasons behind it too, and as such, nowadays 25% of the Billboard 100 will be collabs at any one time. Nowadays, however, as we've discussed, music going viral on TikTok is less about the name attached to the song and more about the song itself and how it can be used to create trends and make content that will appeal to a large audience. As such, artists are slipping lyrics or sections into their songs deliberately because they're hoping that the TikTok girlies will pick up on it, love it, and do their promotion for them. Especially because the TikTok focus is on short clips, so really you only need one catchy line in order for a song to go viral. So examples of this include the In a Minute section of About Damn Time by Lizzo, the It's Me, Hi, I'm the Problem, It's Me in Antihero by Taylor Swift, any of Meghan Trainor's new songs. Like, those songs are not written for radio, they're written for TikTok trends. And don't get me wrong, like, I don't have an issue with this, especially songs like Antihero, where yes, you've got the TikTok chorus, but you've also got the line, did you hear my covert narcissism disguised as altruism, like some kind of congressman? But it does grind my gears a little bit when you hear a snippet of a song on TikTok that sounds super interesting or fun, and then when you listen to the whole song, that one bit doesn't match the rest of the vibe of the song, and it was clearly just thrown in there for marketing purposes. I do think the very clear intent of writing this like hook lyric has downsides. And firstly is the fact that concentrating so hard on one gimmicky lyric that you then have to write around can end up decreasing the overall quality of the song. And I saw a comment on Gabby's video that really summed it up well, which said that artists doing this one line equals TikTok success thing is the equivalent of Adam Sandler writing one good joke and then making an entire movie around it. Like, the rest of the movie is inherently not as good as that one joke because it's trying to fit a narrative around something that actually is just better on its own. And if the purpose of a song is to include a quirky phrase that will go viral on TikTok, it's often pretty difficult to write an entire song that follows the same vibe without it getting a bit too, I don't want to say childish because it's not kids' songs, but that's the only word I can think of to describe it, where the writing ends up becoming a little bit childish. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but I hope that you know what I mean. You know, if the hook is something that is completely outside of what an artist usually writes about, they are going to struggle with writing good lyrics that fit around it because it's not what they're used to. Mad at Disney is an example of this. Clearly, the opening phrase about being mad at Disney is the bit that TikTok was supposed to love, and the rest of the song is lyrically very unadventurous. There's no narrative development. The lyrics in Silo are so painfully simple because it's clear that whoever wrote the song didn't really know where to take that first line, but they had to write around it in order to keep that potentially viral lyric. And this leads into the second problem, which is where music is teased on TikTok using a particularly well-written or a particularly gimmicky line, most of the comments on those videos will be demanding the full version of the song. However, if the full song does not keep up that vibe or that sentiment of that line, the audience are going to be disappointed when they listen to the full thing, and they probably won't come back and listen again. So then whilst you've gained TikTok views, you haven't really gained any new fans. I think this is partly a problem with what we as consumers expect. Like, I think a lot of the time when people leave comments demanding the full version of a song, what they really want is 3.5 minutes of exactly what they're hearing on loop. So they are inevitably disappointed when the song is not that, even though no song is ever 3.5 minutes of the same thing. You know, there's always variation between verse, chorus, bridge, but people basically just want that, but longer. And this is not so much a problem for bigger artists like Taylor Swift, who already have a repertoire of diehard fans and are renowned for being great songwriters, so they can afford to throw lyrics into their songs for TikTok without them necessarily seeming out of place, even when it's totally obvious that they're for TikTok. But I do think that it is an issue for less established artists who, in an ideal world, would want to turn every TikTok viewer into a regular Spotify listener. And I do think it's important when we're talking about new artists trying to come up on TikTok on the basis of quirky lyrics that will go viral on TikTok, it's worth noting this is not a phenomenon that has arisen as a result of TikTok. Artists like Kate Nash and Lily Allen have been writing gimmicky, quirky songs for years, but the difference is they weren't writing those songs to try and hit a particular algorithm. They were writing whatever came naturally to them, and I do wonder if for artists who are going viral on TikTok now, how many of them would have been writing in the style that they are if they hadn't been influenced by the success of songs like ABCDEFU by Gayle or 10 Things I Hate About You by Leah Kate. And these are two songs that are very clearly inspired by Fuck You by Lily Allen and 7 Things by Miley Cyrus, but because they use gimmicky lyrics and references that were very relevant at the time of release, they became massive hits in their own right. However, I don't think they will stand the test of time in the same way that Miley Cyrus and Lily Allen's original songs have, because they rely too much on current pop culture references and how people speak on apps like TikTok for people to truly enjoy them. Like, think about it. It's very easy to put on a Queen song and enjoy it now, even 40 years after it was released. But you can't imagine someone in 2063 sitting down and putting on 10 Things I Hate About You by Leah Kate and enjoying it. But like, that's no shade to Leah Kate, by the way. It's just an example of how writing for TikTok is helping artists to get their songs heard now, but there's no longevity to the success that TikTok gives you. And I feel like whilst lyrics may seem quirky on the face of it, songs and lyrics are being simplified to fit into modern trends, and that comes at the expense of great songwriting. To play into the previous example, if Somebody to Love was released nowadays, it wouldn't go viral on TikTok because, for starters, it's 5 minutes long. It has a ton of sections, but none that have a particularly iconic single line. And then the lyrics demand your attention, but still leave some room for imagination so you can relate to them. So there's not really a trend that would fit on that. It is a fantastic song. It's an example of great songwriting. And I think TikTok is depriving us of this now because record labels and artists alike are gunning for songs that will go viral rather than songs that truly showcase the artist's talent. There are definitely artists who go against the grain, and one example of an album that I think is lyrically fantastic but has not had much recognition outside of the artist fan base because it doesn't contain the type of songs that would go viral is 5 Sauce 5 by 5 Seconds of Summer. I'm a 5 Sauce stan. What are you going to do about it? Beautiful lyrics like I want to argue by your brain, be the only living space in your head are sprinkled throughout this album, and in my opinion showcase the songwriting talent that this band has, but it's something that would never get picked up on TikTok because it's not gimmicky enough to become a trend. 5 Sauce had huge hits with She Looks So Perfect, Don't Stop, Amnesia, Youngblood because they were catchy, they were great radio songs. I think the past 4 years, they've kind of moved away from writing for radio and into writing for themselves as a band, which has produced some amazing music that no one is hearing. And it frustrates me to not only to know this and want to share it, but there must also be so many artists out there who are writing songs on this level that I'm just not hearing about. And maybe I'm biased because I've been a 5 Sauce fan since I was like 13. But I do think there's something to be said about songs with very modern, very simple lyrics going viral, and also songs with ridiculous titles or lyrics also going viral. For example, the track list and name of Lana Del Rey's newest album, which is ridiculously long-winded. And the great songs that don't fit into either of those categories kind of get left behind unless they're sung by a huge artist like Ariana Grande or The Weeknd. And it's also worth bringing up a comment that I saw on Gabby's video that said the idea of having like one killer line or hook in a song was actually very popular in K-pop before it became big on TikTok. And the same with the idea that songs should have a dance routine that people can learn and post about, which obviously has now become a huge part of TikTok. So I wonder whether TikTok's algorithm in some way has been influenced to reward this type of song because of how popular K-pop is and how much of the K-pop audience are on TikTok engaging with songs that are written that way. And it's not just down to TikTok. Western music in the past few years has definitely taken notice of the popularity of K-pop and has started taking elements that are popular in that genre and incorporating them into Western pop music. But the fact that labels and writers are doing this just makes it even more likely that TikTok's algorithm will push out songs that follow this style. And I've also seen criticism about the fact that short songs are getting shorter, they're being written without bridges in some cases. For example, I think One song I've found from TikTok is Numb by Christian Gates, which is only 2 minutes and 20 seconds long because there is no bridge, it's just verse and chorus. And people are blaming this on TikTok and how TikTok rewards shorter, catchier content and plays into trends. One of the very first songs to go viral in this style as a result of TikTok was Old Town Road by Lil Nas X featuring Billy Ray Cyrus, which launched Lil Nas X's career basically and became one of the most played songs of 2019. This song had the chorus, first verse, chorus, second verse, and in total was only 1 minute 53 seconds long, which in comparison to all the other music coming out at the time was significantly shorter than average. However, whilst you can argue that having the song be shorter with the two distinct and catchy verses was the best way to make it go viral on TikTok, and further, because people would clip any 30-second part of it and make a video to that sound, it actually takes inspiration from the roots of country and western music. Back when music was only on viral in the era of like jazz and country music reigning supreme in the US around 100 years ago, song lengths had to be shorter in order to fit onto the 10-inch vinyl records, so often songs would be written without a bridge. And Old Town Road is a nod back to this traditional style of writing where the two verses are significantly different enough that it still creates the interest that a bridge would create in a song that follows the typical modern structure. And from this point, when viral technology developed and we got larger records that could hold more music, people started writing longer songs, but the average song length has never really surpassed 3.5 minutes because the typical song structure of verse, chorus, bridge, chorus gets boring if it goes on for too long. And the exceptions to this rule on length are songs that stray outside of the typical structure, for example, your Bohemian Rhapsodies, songs that have a number of sections but no chorus and develop the whole way through to keep the listener engaged for however long they go on for. And these songs are more like compositions that you usually get in films or video sequences that develop with whatever is going on rather than being stuck in a particular structure. However, as iconic as Bohemian Rhapsody is, Queen had huge issues getting their label to release it as a single because it was seen as being too long for radio, which at the time of Bohemian Rhapsody's release was the primary platform for new music to be promoted. Nowadays, we're seeing labels having the same arguments with their artists about TikTok, where labels are saying to artists, you need to write about things that will be good for TikTok in the same way that artists 30 years ago were asked to write songs that would be good for radio. And I actually think that the main effect that TikTok's had on song structure hasn't been to make songs shorter. It's been to make artists put the hook or a snippet of the chorus at the beginning of a song to grab the listener's attention within the first 15 to 20 seconds because realistically, if you don't get someone's attention within that time, they're going to scroll to the next video and forget that they ever saw the one with your song in. And one final point that I want to make on writing music for TikTok is that there is definitely a juxtaposition between what TikTok wants and what Twitter wants, whereby TikTok rewards the most gimmicky, the most catchy, the most easily danced to songs, but when those songs make it to Twitter, they will be ripped to shreds because everyone on Twitter has a PhD in everything. And that's a joke, by the way, don't come for me, Twitter users, but there's definitely been a few songs like Boy's a Liar, Made You Look, that the armchair critics on Twitter have been very critical of because they aren't necessarily the most technically brilliant songs ever written or produced, even though over on TikTok people can't get enough of them. And my take on this is, why can't we just let the girlies have fun? Like, music's for everyone. Music is about expressing yourself, and if other people enjoy it, then great. If they don't, at least you had fun writing it. So can we please stop hating on literally every single song that one of the pop girlies puts out, because it's clear that they're having a fun time, so just leave them be. I get that when people have made a song that's clearly supposed to get people talking, like the line, how can I be homophobic and my bitch is gay, is obviously a joke, was meant to stir up some pre-promo online, which it did, but the criticism was more like, hey, do we think this guy knows what gay means? Whereas when Megan Trainor wants to make like a fun little bop, suddenly she's the spawn of Satan, ruin the music industry. Like, guys, it's not that deep. If you don't want to listen to it, if it's not your vibe, no one's holding you at gunpoint and forcing you to listen to Mother on repeat. Like, music does not have to be serious all the time. That's what's great about it. You know, there's a song for whatever mood that you're in. So I think we need to stop hating on people who are having fun with music just because you're upset that their song went viral versus a song with a more deep and meaningful sentiment. And one thing I think that can work against artists who go viral on TikTok that is not just Twitter is that the version of a song that goes viral is not necessarily going to be the original. TikTok has already impacted our concentration by making us need constant stimulation all the time in order to pay attention to something. and it shortened our attention spans so that a 3-minute TikTok is often too long and we can't be bothered to watch it. So it kind of makes sense that a lot of the songs that go viral on TikTok and become well-loved sounds are a sped up or bass boosted version, or in some other way altered version of the original. And this is a hangover, I think, from when TikTok was Musical.ly, because when it was Musical.ly, the range of content on there was much narrower, with most of the kids who got famous from that app doing so through lip syncing videos, often to sped up versions of popular songs. And when ByteDance acquired Musical.ly and rebranded it into TikTok, it still kept that core focus, so the interest in sped up versions of songs has remained, but the trends associated with them are no longer lip syncing videos and are instead things like dances or viral moments from other media. And examples of songs that have fallen victim to this are Bloody Mary by Lady Gaga, Ceilings by Lizzie McAlpine, Collide by Justin Sky and Tyga, and many more. And these songs have all had a faster and, by side effect, more high-pitched version of the original go viral and get millions of views on TikTok, which then tend to translate into streams on other platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. However, whilst this is obviously great for the artists, there is a catch, which is that if people are expecting to hear what they heard on TikTok, listening to the original can be disappointing because it feels slower or more downbeat than the TikTok version. Also, when one part of a song is taken and sped up, it can lose the general feeling of the entire song because it reduces it to a catchy melody or lyric and ignores everything else in the song. Like Bloody Mary has some really interesting lyricism, religious references in it, but when you think of the song, you're going to think of the Wednesday Adam dance and the specific bit of the song that was put behind it rather than seeing the whole picture. And this is not unique to TikTok. You know, before social media was the main way to promote music, labels would pay DJs specializing in different genres to remix artist songs to try and make them appeal to as wide of an audience as possible. There'd be the original, then there'd be a club version, a D&B version, an acoustic version, and so on. And the only difference here is that the label doesn't necessarily have to pay people on TikTok to remix the song like they had to pay the DJs. And whilst this obviously helps to generate commercial success, it has also had an effect on live performances and concerts. And R&B artist Steve Lacy has commented how after his song Bad Habits went viral on TikTok and a clip of it was used in 500,000 videos, when performing live, he noticed that a significant proportion of the audience did not know the words to any songs outside of that short clip. So obviously they'd heard the song on TikTok and bought a ticket to his show as a result. And from an artist's perspective, whilst it's probably a little bit disheartening to play an entire show and half the audience only knows one line to one song, people's willingness to go and see new artists that they find on TikTok is actually a really positive thing, because the best way to convince someone to become a fan of yours is to put on a stellar live performance that makes them want to keep coming back. And on the flip side, established artists like Harry Styles and Taylor Swift are seeing thousands more people flocking to buy tickets to their shows as a result of seeing clips of the shows on TikTok rather than just listening to the songs. You know, every day I see at least one Eras Tour related or Harry Styles Love on Tour related TikTok. They always have hundreds of thousands of likes, so those videos going viral will inevitably help them to convince more people who have never seen them live to go and buy tickets to see them. And on the topic of the Eras Tour, also, I think the entire concept of that tour has proven to us, yes, TikTok has an effect on our concentration and how we consume music more generally, but artists don't have to fit into this mold, and established artists don't have to follow that trend in order to maintain their success. The Eras Tour setlist has 44 songs, lasts for 3.5 hours, and yet has sold millions of tickets and has received the highest praise from everyone who has seen the show and has broken records for attendance at the stadiums. And based on what we've talked about, people wanting sped up versions of songs or needing some kind of exciting visual stimulation to watch a 30-second ad for a song, it doesn't fit with the general trend that so many people are enjoying such a long show. I think this proves that whilst TikTok has had a profound effect on the industry and the type of songs that we're seeing and how they're promoted, we haven't been brainwashed into not being able to enjoy music without it being made for TikTok or presented to us in a TikTokified form. And the final point that I want to address in this video, which I know it's been a long slog, so if you're still here, thank you for sticking with me, we're nearly there, I promise, is what would happen to the music industry if TikTok got banned. Recently, there's been a lot of talk about the potential that TikTok might not last much longer in the US, at least, with Congress probing the CEO in a conference about whether TikTok is a security threat because its parent company is based in China, and the possibility that the Chinese government could access users from other countries' data. As such, I thought the best way to end this video would be to theorize about how the music industry might react if TikTok got banned, considering how heavily it's been influenced by TikTok's popularity. And TikTok has already so heavily influenced other apps like Instagram with the introduction of Reels and YouTube with the introduction of Shorts that I'm not sure TikTok being banned would have that much of an impact on labels wanting artists to market themselves and how new artists try and grow their following, because it would simply just be short form content taking place on a different app. Even Spotify has been influenced by TikTok introducing a discover page for different genres recommended to you where you can scroll through songs like you would scroll through videos on the TikTok For You page. And the major labels actually might be happy about TikTok being banned, even if they have to rethink their marketing strategy, because TikTok took the power away from them. TikTok has its own internal music operations team that can push the levers on making something more popular by showing it to more people, and labels have no control over that. They just have to hope that if they strike a favourable licensing deal, then TikTok might push more of their songs out to the audience. And for aspiring artists trying to get discovered, it might seem like a major blow if TikTok gets banned, but it's important to remember that even a viral song does not equate to a successful career of superstardom. Lizzie McAlpine has had her viral moment with Ceilings, but revealed in an interview that she's still not signed to a label, which I imagine is by choice, but it puts into perspective that even if your song is one of the most used sounds on TikTok, that does not guarantee that it's going to be smooth sailing into global success from there. And Benet's song Super Lonely is a previous example of a song that was huge on TikTok, got into the charts, but the artist hasn't made much noise in the industry since then. So really, even if TikTok gets banned, it's not taking opportunity away from small artists, because TikTok in itself, even if it goes well and you get your viral moment, is not necessarily the opportunity it's perceived to be. And overall, I think TikTok has had such a huge effect on social media and how we consume content that it was inevitably going to leak into other forms of entertainment eventually. It's just that the music industry is where it's being seen most profoundly, because there are more musicians on TikTok trying to be discovered than actors trying to get into films, etc. And what the future of TikTok will be, I don't know, but for as long as it is around, music has formed its own subcategory of TikTok with its own trend cycles, so we will continue to see promotions that follow trends and new artists coming up through TikTok for as long as labels are interested in using the app to find the next big thing. If it gets banned, I just think that the type of content will move platforms. I don't think the effect of the ban will be to revert the music industry back to what it was before TikTok existed, because personally I do think that YouTube had its music industry impact back in the 2010s and since then has been slowly dying as the main avenue for discovery of new artists. So the industry was just kind of waiting for the next big thing to come along, which ended up being TikTok. And short form content is still very much the trend, and it's not showing any signs of slowing down, even if it's now divided between multiple platforms rather than being confined to only TikTok. So I think that for now, the music industry will continue to focus on short form content, and artists will continue to write for short form content until the majority of the audience gets bored. And for now, that is all I have to say about the TikTokification of the music industry. If you've watched this far, don't forget to leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment with any thoughts that you might have, and subscribe to see more videos like this. I will link a few videos you might enjoy down in the description, but apart from that, I will hopefully see you all in my next one. Bye guys!